Buddy, this is bballin, and this is my first attempt at commentating a professional replay. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, you guys honored, you're about to pop my commentating cherry. So this is version 6.71b. This is a game from the Asus Spring Finals in Ukraine. Or, not Asus Spring Finals, just the Asus Tournament in Ukraine, sponsored by Intel. And this game is going to be a game between Navi and GZ. I'm probably going to be uploading this replay within the next couple of days, and right now, at this point, this is the older Navi. Yes, I know that sounds a little weird, but this is them before they have acquired Puppy and Light of Heaven. So, in Navi we have Xbot, Excipia, Dendi, Artstyle, and Goblak. And on GZ, we have GZ, ZSMJ, wannabe. Although, if you have to have a Dota idol, I suppose he would be a good one for a carry player. I wonder if he'll play carry. GZ Trainer, GZ Demon, Dakto to Takoi, and Gzchernigov. Yes, I totally butchered that pronunciation. But anyways, they have already started to the picks and bans. I'm not going to bother hiding the replay bar because this is my first commentary, and I'm just going to see how it goes. I chose this game specifically because it's a very short game, and I just want to see how I can do editing video and seeing how I am listening to my voice. Although this is actually some of the first time I'm actually listening to myself talk to nobody in particular. I don't usually use microphones, but the NBA finals are over, and I felt like, hey, man, I should actually try commentary. That seems like a pretty good idea. So, right now into the game. Navi's on Sentinel and GZ's on Scourge. So Navi's banned Syllabear, Weaver, Ancient Apparition, Syllabear, an insane pusher. Ancient Apparition, just an fucking dumb hero. Weaver, I'm surprised to see Weaver banned because there are a lot of counters to him, but I suppose Navi just doesn't feel like dealing with him. Meanwhile, GZ bans Clockwork, Enigma, and Invoker. Dendi plays a very strong Invoker. And of course, Invoker is just a stupid hero in general. And Archstyle plays a strong Enigma. So you see GZ trying to eliminate some of the early team fight and ganking heroes. Enigma can come out of the jungle at any time and own you. Alright, so Navi's like, whatever, you ban Clockwork and Enigma, we'll just pick straight out pushers, not even bothering to hide the fact they're going to push balls to the wall. So they pick up a Visage, which isn't really indicative of a pushing strategy right off the gate, but they followed it up with a Keeper of the Light. And when you pick Keeper of the Light with your first two picks, you know you're going to push, and they're not even bothering to disguise that fact. Keeper of the Light, a very strong support hero, but oftentimes you try to play him as a traditional support. He tends to absorb too much of the farm with his Illuminate ability, and that doesn't make him the strongest babysitting. He's a very strong anti-push if you want to go for an extremely turtle-heavy strategy, or you can go for an extremely push-heavy strategy, which is what Artstyle seems to be doing here. Meanwhile, GZ, they picked the Lich and the Earthshaker. They had first pick, so they picked the Lich, a very, very strong first pick, can deny like crazy, can solo against a tri-lane, extremely powerful team fight potential, and is just a very solid opening pick. And then they picked up the Earthshaker and the Spectre. And now, when you see a Keeper of the Light, I don't really understand why you'd pick up a Spectre. When Keeper of the Light is being picked up the second pick, you already know that they're probably going to push. Not probably, they're definitely going to push, especially in the second pick. Usually wouldn't see a Keeper of the Light until the last two picks if they want to disguise a pushing strat. But this is Navi. They don't care. They're obviously not taking their opponent very seriously. They feel like they can own them without second regards to their mental health or their mental well-being. So I don't really like this counter pick by GZ, which is Earthshaker, which is a really strong anti-push hero. Can stun, does massive AoE, can block. Just makes it hard to push against in general. And Spectre, I mean, if Navi's going for a straight push strat, they're already going to lose in the late game. So I don't think it's necessary to choose the latest of the late game carries like Spectre. They could have chosen a mid game carry like maybe a Shadow Fiend, which would overpower any of these heroes. Or Morphling wasn't banned, so I'm surprised they didn't pick up a Morphling because at least he can do something early game. He can nuke and he can survive, unlike a Spectre. Of course, if the game drags on long enough, then the Spectre will prove to be an extremely smart choice. So right now, in the fourth ban, our style banned Pugno, which is a little odd. Um, he's extremely hard. All right, I'm gonna pause it for a little bit. It's a little odd because actually I won't pause it right now. It's a little odd because Pugno is an extremely strong push hero, which is what art style is going for, and he also banned the Windrunner, which is also a little odd because Lich can solo long lane pretty well. Although this might be a basing Lich in conjunction with Earthshaker basing the Spectre. Um, on the other hand, GZ banned Leshrac, an extremely strong pushing hero. Um, I don't know if art style would necessarily have picked this hero, but he is an extremely strong pushing hero, and I guess GZ didn't feel like facing him. And they also probably saw Navi employ Leshrac against MYM a couple months ago. Since this is from the Asus Spring Cup, this is about 3 weeks to a month old, I think. Uh, Sorry if I got that wrong. And they also banned the Batrider, which is one of my favorite heroes, just because he's so annoying to play against. I love playing spammy, annoying heroes that get on your nerves. Totally unlike my personality. Um, so art style picked a Dirge, further indicating that this is a push strat. He picked it up with his third pick. I really like the resurgence of Dirge. He's also one of my favorite heroes. He's a tank hero where you can literally just walk around, and if you have a tombstone out, you can just walk around and press R for rip, spam DK, and you've done your job. You just have to live long enough and take enough to focus fire because if they don't focus you, the tombstone and your amplified damage will be a huge pain in the ass to any opponent team dealing with him. And if you do focus him, then he's a tank. He's tough to bring down a lot of the time, and your carries can come in, do a shit ton of damage to them, and that's usually the end team meta. Okay, now I'll pause it because all the bans and picks are picked, and I want to talk about these a little bit more. So art style picked up with his next pick an Alchemist, which is another tanky hero who's pretty good at pushing. He's a little better at anti-pushing um, with his acid spray, and he gets farmed. I think this is art style's sort of backup pick in case the push strike gets defended successfully. So in case he needs an insurance plan to fight against a Spectre, and Alchemist can do that, especially against this lineup, which isn't really nuke heavy. I'd say it's more I'll go on to that in a little bit. But Alchemist is a tanky hero that does ridiculous minus armor and AoE, which will help in the push strat immensely. And also, art style picked up a Rasta. Rasta is an interesting hero. He's very slow. He requires levels, but when you get to level 6, you're gonna get a tower if you play it right. And towers is basically what Rasta needs in order to succeed as a hero. If you aren't pushing towers with Rasta, you're doing it wrong because you can just pick up a Lion, you can pick up a Venge, who are infinitely more helpful in the team fight or in ganking. But Rasta only really has one disable, an unreliable disable in Shackle, which is Channeling, which can easily be broken by, uh, in this case, only really Earthshaker and Lich, and maybe the first bounce of Chain Frost since that is a mini stun. But I really like Archstyle's pick here, Rasta. He's sort of going all out with the Keeper of the Light and the roster strat, along with the Dirge. Visage in general is just a ridiculous tri-lane hero. He's a beast. But his birds can push pretty well. It does an AoE stun, and his nuke is ridiculous. And Alchemist is a tanky, armor reducing powerhouse who can potentially carry later in case something goes wrong. I really like I really like the fourth pick of GZ, Venomancer. Venomancer is a really hard hero to push against if you're not using